the meeting to order. Herman Marks will lead us in our invocation pledge.
Our Father, we are truly grateful to be here today. We thank that we live in a country where we can express our thoughts. We ask now that you give us special focus as we seek for the betterment of our city. We realize that prayer is a tremendous resource. May we lift up each other to you in prayer, that we'll be the citizen and the person that we need to be. We ask now that you be with the council as they deliberate today's budget. That's us all in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Herman. Roll call.
Lightner.
Here.
McMasters.
Here.
Jackson.
Here.
Pike.
Here.
Pepper.
Here. All right, this is a special called council meeting. We have 3 items on the agenda. First is resolution 24-624, approval of City Hall grounds for River Place. Motion by Mr. Pepper, second by Mr. McMasters.
Yes, as we all know, that's a 3-day event. They set up one day and then they have an event over at the Arts Center across the road. And just grant them permission to use City Hall and the facilities for those 3 days. They set up and then they have the event. It's Friday through Sunday.
All right, Mr. Saluki, you have a question?
Resolutions today. I just want to make it clear these resolutions are not activities as defined by the League of Municipalities in terms of legislative activities. This is something else that we're including. This resolution, City Hall grounds for the festival, I've been suggesting options for the city to consolidate similar services, equipment maintenance, to better meet identified needs for weed abatement, beautification, parks, and rec, etc. Contracts for Thrive, for example. Suggestions to use prisoner labor or city equipment was laughed at. My councilman states, nowhere can we use taxpayer-paid equipment and labor to go on private property and make improvements. Okay. Okay, I appreciate that, but let me finish first. I'm not sure how making a temporary maintenance of weeds is an improvement, first off. Also, if it is illegal, as Mr. Marks just says, can exceptions be made through mutual contract? Because this contract you're about to look at seems to do that. We're going to have a private event or a contracted event on public property. So it seems to me that there seems to be a disconnect for that reason.
Well, the answer to that is that the council has determined that this is a public purpose using the City Hall grounds, cultural activity. We're not going to maintain, they're responsible to put up all of it, responsible to take it down, they're responsible to clean up anything that they have left. So the council has determined it is a public purpose.
Okay, so the council could similarly look at it being within the public interest to abate weeds for the purpose of health and welfare of snakes and rodents, that's what the regulation says, for that same purpose. Is that correct? The council can do that.
Not correct.
Okay. Well, why not?
It's not correct because we have a process in place whereby the property owner is given an opportunity to.
No, I understand we have a process in place.
I'm going to do the same thing you just did. I'm going to ask you to let me finish before you. That's okay, because I don't have much more to say. But the answer is we have a process whereby we declare that this is not in the best interest of the neighborhood and thus we obey it. What you're describing is whereby we go out at City Hall and benefit and try to keep the property owners without authority to do this.
If it's a contract, somebody could say, I want this activity to be done in my property, which I own, I could do that. Now, the problem set, as I understand it, for that specific task is absentee landlords. That's why we have all of this as an issue. In fact, that's what you brought to my attention. That's the reason, that's the primary reason for doing it. If that's the primary reason, then we should be attacking that with this abatement process with our 4 employees, the number of vehicles and equipment that are employed to use that, rather than charging those same people trying to keep their equipment 7% compared to last year.
This agenda item is approval of City Hall grounds for the
Yes. And the contract, as it's written, has purposes out, or potential to be used outside of that particular
public places are used a lot. We have a lot of public parks and other things that people use for events.
I can't hear you, Mr. Pepper. Could you please speak into the mic?
We know that there's an issue with sound, and the box is messed up. We're trying to figure out ways to.
There's people that are texting saying there's an issue with the sound.
Okay. That's all I have.
All right, do we have any other discussion? Roll call. Aye. Could the team have started with interviews first, and should they have, versus looking solely at body cams? Well, it's a review of the police department, I would expect you perhaps they would look at the police department. Okay. Now, I applaud this effort. I say we should do this, but I believe this cost should come out of the police budget. Opinions actions, along with the mayor's mandated actions, this costly solution ought to be put on the department for those fiduciary expenditures.
no amount of $1.4 million in leadership training is going to fix the problems that we have.
Did you say we should not increase our budget? Is that what you said? I'm sorry. Did you say we should increase our budget all $1.4 million? What did you say?
I said we should not expend an additional $1.4 million solely for this plan. I believe that's what Mr. McMaster said yesterday.
I don't think that's correct. That
Okay,
is not.
so it is included in that budget.
So you think we should take an additional, you think we should take money away from their budget when?
If
in my
you cause the
personal
problem,
opinion-
if you do something illegal, you should pay the price.
So you think that we should take
If
money
you all
from their
agreed,
budget when
Mr.
they're tasked with protecting the public, and every dollar that they get, they utilize to protect the public. So you think we should take away money from the people that are tasked with protecting the public? So you think that we should take away equipment from them? You think we should take away additional training from them, which is what you and many others have stated they need? You think we should take that away from them? What sense does that make? It makes zero sense. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, if I can respond to your
Please,
question.
yeah, have at it.
Okay, it starts with you buttoning your lip and allowing me to speak.
Let's hear it.
First off, this body approved the use of those funds because we identified a problem. There was a problem that was not being done through the mayor taking initiative to go ahead and say, we need to take a look at our own police department. You all agreed and signed up to spend this money. So my point is that money that is being used to fix this problem should come from the entity, not the taxpayers who've already provided money for a budget, should come out of the budget. You do something wrong, you pay the price. We also fine, do we not, Mr. EMS expert, how much fine for amount of time on service calls. If you're above 9 minutes or whatever, you don't meet the standard, you get fined. Similarly, our police department, for a misuse of their authority and causing this event, ought to have the price paid for it.
So either way, so you said that the taxpayer shouldn't have to pay for it, but both budgets are taxpayer dollars. So
I concur.
Yeah, so but both budgets are taxpayer dollars. So either way, the public's going to have to pay for it, right? So whether or not we take it out of their budget is, in my personal opinion, irrelevant because I believe that the council intends to improve it today.
Good.
I don't intend to vote for it. Let me put that out there. However, I just can't understand I don't understand your thought process in behind thinking that it's okay to take money away from people that are charged with protecting the public. When you yourself have come up here and protested that they need more training, they need this, they need that.
I have not
And you wanna
protested
take
for any of that.
You have said that officers need more training, you yourself.
I have said training requirements for the city in terms of identified measures of
That costs money.
effectiveness.
That costs money. So you think that we should take that money away from them?
Let the next person speak.
Okay.
If we can move on. Elaine,
Can I just finish? I mean, this will briefly take just a second.
just a second, because we
Okay.
got to move on.
Mr. Demeester gave an outstanding briefing yesterday. Fully competent, very cogent, a lot of great information. I have not seen anything from Mr. Pinion in a similar vein conveying information to this body or the citizens that live in the city. I would ask you to force that in the future.
Thank you. Ms. Daly.
The mayor said public safety was #1 priority, right? Of course it would be. This is a good city. We need public safety, including giving the police department this third-party review that is fully and completely independent and unbiased to improve our police department.
Sorry.
Elena, if you pull it down, he's trying to get it where we can't hear you, okay?
Oh, okay. Including giving the police department this third-party review that is fully and completely independent and unbiased to improve our police department, including better leadership, better training, better opportunities, better oversight, better communication, better accountability, and better relationships within the community. Why wouldn't you, as a council or as an individual person, vote yes for this when you said you wanted them to perform this investigation without barriers, a barrier including needing more time to review all of the evidence to give a fair and reasonable result?
Are you directing a question at me?
I mean, you just had told him, so I'm guessing.
So
I mean, you came
if
openly
you're directing
saying.
the question at me, I'm not going to support this today because obviously the individual who represents that company is not present today. I have questions regarding his agency and the people that work for his agency and people that are tasked with involvement in the investigation they're conducting in this department. Specifically, one individual who worked at the Huntsville Police Department prior to obtaining employment here. To my understanding, that individual was held up on an ethics charge and was found guilty on an ethics charge. And with that being said, it was a transparent issue. So I'm curious to know how an individual at a third-party agency who's conducting a review on a police department who himself was held up on charges for is going to be able to be honest and transparent in this situation.
Just like our mayor's being held on ethics charges. Just like our mayor's being upheld on ethics charges, and I think
You want people to be transparent, right? You want an honest review. You want somebody that is unbiased in every situation.
I have a question for Mr. Pepper.
Not anymore.
Can you please continue?
All right, maybe, to finish Mr. Faruqi's point, maybe this money that Green and Associates needs, not one individual person working for Green and Associates needs, should be taken out of the police budget to help them, because this third-party review is to help them help improve our police department, instead of what, the regular city budget? And that's it.
Consider this us making additions to their budget.
All right, that is all that, we do have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Do we think this will be it?
Yeah, you know, it's kind of one of those things. I would say yes, and I think you asked that question, how many more hours, and the answer given was 400. My caveat always in questions we're asked is, based on what I know today, the answer to that I would think is yes.
And I would like to think that that the answer is yes, but also, if it's not, if that's not the end of it, our focus should be to get to the bottom of it, to make sure that there is a complete review of our department, and if it takes more, it takes more as far as I'm concerned. I can't speak for anybody but me, but if it takes more, it takes more, but hopefully this is the end of it.
I agree. My concern would be cutting any hours short, that we're not getting the full review that we asked for, that was originally approved. So if they need the hours, and that's what they feel they need, he mentioned every hour a body cam takes more like 2 to 2.5 hours to review. They're burning through a lot of hours. But to Mr. Jackson's point, if we need the hours, they need the hours, we need to give it to them. If not, I'm afraid, you know, some of the stuff that's left is interviewing people on this dais as well as people in the police department. And we want to see the full picture of the police department. This is what they need, so I'll support it.
I got some questions kind of around Mobile and comparison. I made that comparison the first time, so I think it's a good question. Mobile, again, as we've mentioned, was specifically around 5 use of force incidents. What we've asked for is a much more broad review, so it takes more time than reviewing 5 incidents. And I think it's important to recognize that the contract set a minimum of 750 hours. I think there's a lot of misconceptions that it was a maximum. The reason it has to come back before the council is because for funding. Really, the contract necessarily doesn't really even have to be amended because it said minimum. But it's really to make sure we know where the funding's coming from and fund it. So
the thing that surprises me the most, I'm good with where we're going, but to Mr. Jackson's point, there being the experts, they would have known how much time it would have taken to do the body.
I think that's why it was minimum, was the language used. I don't think it was not a maximum number. So to say we were misinformed on how long it would take, it says minimum of 750, which means at least that, like, it could be more.
So do we know what time frame they're reviewing of?
Yeah.
Are they only reviewing from September of last year to this year?
What exactly are you asking?
I'm asking, in what situations are they looking at body camera footage? What reports are they looking at?
I think generally, and actually, body camera footage deletes, and this is not a Decatur police thing, it's a storage issue in every department, but we only hold body camera footage for a certain, but they're looking at incidents that go back to the beginning of 23.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
as far as, I've gotten questions around time frame, still on track to meet the January 1st. I would expect it to be before then, but again, I can't don't know what might come up, so. All right, any other discussion? Roll call?
Widener.
Aye.
McMasters. Jackson. Pike. Pepper.
No.
Resolution 24-220 approved 4-1. Next is ordinance's first reading. Ordinance 24-4591, adopt FY25 general fund budget.
Motion for immediate consideration.
All right, we have a motion for immediate consideration from Mr. Pepper and a second from Mr. McMasters. Any discussion on immediate consideration? All right, roll call.
Widener.
Aye.
McMasters. Jackson.
Aye.
Pike.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Immediate consideration is passed 5-0. We have a
Second.
motion by Mr. McMaster, second by Mr. Pepper. Dawn, did you want to add anything? I know we made some minor adjustments, but those were easy.
Right. Good afternoon. Dawn Roniker, Finance Department. I did send you all that minor change this morning concerning the library, and I just wanted to echo Kyle and publicly thank the mayor and council for the responsibility that you take on with the city's funding. Kyle for all of his hard work and his leadership. You guys had an outstanding hire in him. He's such a servant leader. Our finance team, I have one of my liaisons with me today, Ms. Teague, who's been with the city for over 25 years. We just have such a great staff of professionals, and just all the way from the department directors and department key personnel that help with this. And we are just so fortunate to be in this position, and we take a lot of pride in being stewards of the taxpayer money, and we appreciate all the questions and the comments that came as a result of our budget preparation, and we thank you for your consideration today.
Thanks.
We appreciate everything that you guys do.
Mr. Barucki? Yes, sir.
Okay, specifically, and we've talked about this before, $20 million for the police force. I addressed some concerns earlier about, are we getting the, pardon the pun, bang for the buck? Our population to police cost ratio from here to number of the top 10 mayors or mayoral districts. We keep seeing increased costs as we are not seeing increased population, so that deficit is going to increase. Of that, I think it's what, 16 million is for personnel costs, 80% of the cost, correct?
What did you say?
I don't have these numbers right off the top of my head.
In the police or the total?
Police.
I got it right here, but I'll.
Okay, I'm going to just say I believe it's accurate. And as you take a look at, because we had an earlier discussion about we want our departments to be as revenue generating as they can be to offset cost. For $20 million, as I understand it, based on the budget, we have an expectation of about $50,000 from municipal concerns, or municipal fines, municipal activities. So any traffic tickets, misdemeanors, et cetera, that revenue goes back into the great $20 million budget somehow to make an effect.
All the revenue does not go back in. That's incorrect. All the revenue does not go back in.
So it's worse than I thought.
No, all the revenue does not go.
So there is no revenue coming in,
There is revenue coming in,
but not.
all of it, all of it.
So none of it is, but none of it's offsetting. None of it would be offsetting the $20 million budget then.
80% is right.
Yeah, thank you. So the bottom line, that seems a little cost prohibitive in terms of recouping of our resources and a poor investment of our tax dollars, in my opinion. And I don't want to listen to you tell me otherwise.
You
So
think us investing in our police department is a poor investment? Well, we should just take their cars from them. Let's not respond to calls.
that's
Just forget it.
that's a great idea. We had that discussion earlier.
I think I just can't understand your thought process behind not wanting to invest in the police department. It doesn't make any sense to me. You come from the military, right? So 20 plus years in the military. So you serve your country. You understand serving and protecting.
I also understand
why
fiscal responsibility.
They have a great bit of responsibility, and they do it in a fantastic way. They're wonderful.
Tell me about this fantastic way that they do.
They respond.
Oh, they respond. Okay, sometimes they respond poorly, do they not?
Themselves in a professional manner.
At all times.
In many
That's why we have a
situations,
third-party review asking those questions.
Absolutely.
Mr. Pepper, you are
Can I call the question?
awesome.
All right, we have a motion to call the question and a second. We'll vote on the call of the question. Roll call.
The call of the question.
Aye.
McMasters.
Aye.
Now, what are we voting on?
He called the question, so ending debate.
I can
I'm not debating anything.
But it's a motion that was made and there was a second, we have to vote.
Okay.
Where do we get to? Aye.
Ladner, McMasters, Jackson, Pike. Pepper.
Aye.
That is, the motion to call the question is passed 5-0. We'll vote on the item. We do have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Ladner.
Aye.
McMasters. Jackson.
No.
Pike.
Aye.
Aye.
Ordinance 244591 is approved 4-1. I think a couple people had some additional comments. Ms. Bailey?
Just say something. Sure. Was it ever shared publicly that the library was restored to the full funding?
I think
Dawn covered it.
it was.
She
Bang, the library was restored.
Okay. Pickleball. Pike, did you review the plans before approving the resolution to build the indoor pickleball courts?
No.
Okay. So you didn't see the blueprints or anything? So you couldn't have seen where it clearly showed in the facility where it wasn't up to code with your building experience through FIGHT?
No.
Right. Great. Thank you so much for that. Will each of you individually go and use these pickleball courts?
No. I've never played pickleball.
This is
Let me
hilarious,
say,
guys.
I may.
This is hilarious. I'm just saying.
But I will also, I will answer that question as well, that there are a whole lot of things that we vote on that are good things for the city that I will not utilize.
Right, and I understand that. You vote for a dog park and you own a cat. I get that, but
We actually just approved funding for the senior center.
right,
Probably
and none of you are
use
seniors.
that.
Got it. Okay.
You get a little bit older. You pushing the age.
Well, here was my thing on top of that. If you were gonna go, I was gonna say even if Steve Perkins supporters show up with our signs, stay silent, respect the game, and just have signs at your pickleball courts. Would that be okay with you as well, to continue with this funding? Because this is not gonna go away. Because if the mayor is right and public safety is a #1 priority, $500,000 really truly should be going to green and research and technology and to that police department. You're right, Hunter, to get them better leadership specifically. I also wanted to point out one more thing that you guys have been so proud of, some of you have been so proud of since it got here, the parking garage. So you also decided to build a little thing in the parking lot that the Brick Deli uses for their workers to park, their employees to park, for something for the Alabama Center of Arts. I don't think that I was here for this meeting and I didn't quite understand this fully. But this is just what I'm telling you that I'm being told, because you all voted and decided to build this building. It's going through either way, it doesn't matter. But this is what's happening. Once construction starts on this, Brick Deli workers and several other businesses who use this parking lot for their employees downtown, their employees will now have to start paying for the parking garage to park, which has prices that are 200% higher than the parking garages in Huntsville, downtown Huntsville, which I think is insane. So now you're charging the people that work in your city rather than putting what the Center of Arts needs into the huge parking lot beside them that people use for the Morgan County Courthouse or for the jail parking.
Which parking deck in Huntsville are you?
I'm referring to the one that's at Clinton Avenue. Clinton Avenue, you pay 50 cents to just get in there and get back out. It's
Ours is 50
easy.
cents an hour.
It's $4.
A day, or 50 cents an hour.
50,
You're saying
okay,
They're saying there's just 50 cents for a whole day?
there's just 50 cents to get in and get out.
For no matter amount of time?
Get in and get out. All I'm saying is that these employees are now gonna have to pay for the parking garage, so what you could offer as well as a solution for this, because this is what happened to me when I lived in Decatur and worked in downtown Huntsville, I was given a card as an employee to swipe in at the parking garage. But you will also have to pay to update your parking garage machines to accept this card for these employees to park for free in the downtown parking garage. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you. Mr. Faruqi, I wasn't sure if you had another. Yeah.
Have y'all read City of Decatur Ordinance 2271? It's the one on the website, talks about how these meetings are supposed to be run.
Probably have reviewed that, yes.
Okay, it says in there, one of the things it talks about, section 2.6, it's been brought up before, police retirements in good standing, people keep their badge and their gun. Did Mr. Renshaw?
I have no idea, and I'm not gonna.
So what was his question?
If a certain employee that retired kept their badge or their gun,
Oh,
then
okay.
I don't know.
Does anybody?
No, I don't know.
So an individual who threatened personnel in the city of Decatur could be walking around with a badge and gun still. That could be a safety concern for the citizens of Decatur. Section 2-286, attendance by the clerk and officers. It says that City Council can request that all of the employees be here for the meeting, for the duration of the meeting. Not to get up with the mayor, as has been the case, and walk out of this before the meeting is completed or adjourned. So we are in violation of that currently and have been for as long as I've been here.
How are we in violation?
When this man leaves, everyone else goes out.
But what did you say the rule was?
The rule says that you can specify city employees to be here. Actually, it says, not even you, city employees are supposed to be here to represent their departments at this meeting, city council meeting.
They do during the business section of the meeting.
Okay, and then they leave. Okay,
Some do, not all.
well, 2 people stayed last time, but you can specify that they remain, because it would be great to have the police chief here to answer for comments.
Thank you.
All right, section 2-85, same powers and duties, as described. Those duties are supposed to be prescribed according to that section of the ordinance, which means basically as you term it, your legislative duties are supposed to be prescribed. I have not seen anything other than what's on the website saying that you've got Parks and Recs and you've got the police and you've got what? I don't know what you got. Well, I do know you didn't attend the Planning Commission meeting last week or yesterday, so that's unfortunate this
on
week.
purpose.
Okay, and what would that purpose be, just out of curiosity?
I don't think I should be able to double vote on things. The planning commission votes on things, so I would have to abstain, in my personal opinion, every time I attend a planning commission meeting.
So this is where you're prescribed.
Hold on. Instead, I hold my vote for when I come to the council, so that way I don't double vote on things. Okay, fair? Yeah, okay, thank you.
All right, continue. Please.
Yes, sir. But those duties are supposed to be prescribed. So if you can no longer continue to do those prescribed duties as part of your function in the city council, those ought to be removed from you and taken to somebody else.
Billy, you want it? Kyle, you
Well,
want it?
actually, I mean, since you called my name, what's happened in the past is that council members have sat on the planning commission and they just don't vote. They don't have to abstain, they just don't vote. They don't vote, and they're not double voting. And when it comes to the business section, they'll vote in the council meeting and go from there. So
I think Mr. Jackson wants the planning commission. You should give it to him.
I do not. I do not. I mean, but it's your responsibility.
It is. And now the Planning Commission, as I sat in 2 of those meetings so far, and I've talked to Mr. Kent Lawrence and I've talked to Tommy about this as an issue, we see snapshots, soda straws of what is being put forward as a new initiative. Everything from the new building over here on Cherry Street to stuff affecting me as I'm going back and forth from my house to this meeting. Those soda straws do not give us the bigger picture. For example, where are the new hotels going to be built in relation to each other? What is the future impact of 3 new subdivisions with a new plat that came in last meeting on my ability to come here to these meetings with stop signs, with additional traffic flow? None of that is looked at in its totality from the Planning Commission. I would offer that maybe that should be included instead of just a soda straw of area of operation, which is where those contractors are going to work, a bigger picture on where that is in the city and what is the impact of that on our city streets. Because I learned something at the meeting, which you did not attend, Mr. Pepper,
I review each one, just in case you're wondering. I do review each one. Planning Commission does a fantastic job, and every member on the board does a fantastic job. Give them some credit where credit's due. They do a great job.
Keep going.
At that meeting, there's a TCM, I believe it's TCR, a technical review committee. Right. They do this beforehand, and that's supposed to be where they look at the overall picture of how much additional traffic is going to be here, what's the impact on all these city streets? And admission was that, hey, we need to put in some additional stop signs, stoplights on Central Parkway. But nobody has looked at that in its totality. It is, so what does straw look at? Okay, we're going to need additional traffic. Let's put one there and there, but not impacting, because there's 3 more subdivisions north and south of that subdivision that are going to be affected similarly. So again, a big picture view would be helpful in accordance with their charter, which says they're supposed to follow the one Decatur plan. Right now, that is, well, we've discussed that before.
Thank you. Justin? No, okay. Anything else from council? All right, we're adjourned. Thanks.